So you've got all these problems, and at the heart of it, you're trying to feed 350,000 people and give them water, and everybody's throwing these problems at you. But you just get up every day and hope it will be a bit better.
Welcome back to another episode of my podcast, Relentless Life on Your Terms. We have a special episode, mother and daughter combo, Aisha and Judi. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us. We are so excited to be here today.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to cross a few things today, obviously. Mutual love for property, also friends as well. Attended one of my recent events, and your mother's a beautiful human being who was, thank you to be here to talk a bit about your humanitarian work. So where do we begin, ladies?
Well, I guess where do we start? I've been in real estate for 17 years. I'm originally from England. My name's Aisha Coe, and I have been in Australia for 13 years. And I met you, Chris, probably, gosh, it was a couple of years ago now.
It's gone quick.
It's gone very, very quick. We've spoken quite a bit in that time, and just met you through mutual people in the industry, and love what you do. Really gravitated towards your humanitarian work because that hits me in my soul, and I really connected with that, and I found that very interesting because there's not a lot of people that work in real estate and property industry that do the amount of charity and giving back that you do. So I was very intrigued and invested in what you do in your company, and loved your Lead with Kindness event.
Well, thank you. And obviously, I know where it comes from too. Obviously, you've got your mother now. So as you talk about her, we've got to hear live in person. So you've been in real estate, and I know you're a great agent. You've won a ton of awards, and very, very proud that recently you've started as well your own firm. So, and I'm seeing you kicking goals all the time on. So I'm very proud. Tell us a bit about, first of all, your journey in 17 years coming across to another country, getting into the real estate. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, real estate was never on the cards for me originally. I was actually trying to become an air hostess for Emirates in Dubai, and I went to the interview and I got through, and I was then turned down because I had a tattoo. And at that time, it's a very strict country, so I didn't get in because I had a tattoo. I since had the tattoo lasered off, and I thought, what else can I do? And I loved watching all the property TV programs in England, and I just went for a trainee job. Failed all the exams. They made me do a maths test. They made me write about the room that I was sitting in. They made me write a property ad, and I failed all of that miserably. And I just went to the owner and I said, please just give me a chance. I won't let you down. And he went, yeah, all right. I like your attitude. I love the fact that you've come to me and said, let me show you what I can do. And I got the job. And within 6 months, just rose very quickly, learned everything that I needed to learn, and just was very hungry and dedicated. And that was the start. And I've never left real estate. So that was when I was, I think, 20 years old, maybe 19, 20.
So, but the key thing here is you had the drive, and you had the people skills.
Yeah.
And like the story that I shared with you offline is when I met my ex-COO, very close friend of mine, I knew when I met him, he would be great.
Yeah.
Had no industry experience, but he was a beautiful human being. And I knew that that's the person that I want to represent our brand in front of our clients, which is what they would have seen in you. And not 100%. Many people go up to someone and say, just give me a go.
Yeah. I think being bullish and speaking up and believing in yourself, that's all you need. That's all I needed at that time. And yeah, rose very quickly in real estate in London, got headhunted, moved from Kent to London, and worked in an incredible office there, had the most amazing boss. At the time, I liked him, but he was very, very hard on me. But I'm so grateful for how he treated me, because that made me into an incredible agent.
He did. It's hard to see at the time. You look back, it's easy to join the dots. Let me ask you, what's the key differences in real estate from when you're in London to here? What would you say?
Key differences is legislation, completely different. So marketing, here we have these ginormous billboards. We have social media, which has only become evident probably more so in the last 5 to 10 years, social media. In the UK, you would not have any of that. I still look at photos on rightmove.co.uk, which is like the English version of realestate.com. And some of the photos and the marketing for property over there for $5, $6, $7, $10 million properties is pretty shabby. Like, it's not great at all.
Wow.
So I think marketing here, we're very invested in marketing our properties here, and I think that's really important. But also the process of selling a property in Australia compared to the UK is completely different. We don't deal with contracts in England. You get the offer, you pass it on to the conveyancer. The conveyancer does everything. And you also have you don't go unconditional in England until right before settlement. So a buyer can pull out at any time throughout the conveyancing process. I think it's about, I think on average, so in Australia, we have 30, 60, 90-day settlements, which is pretty normal. Over there, that is considered extremely quick. So in England, my cousin's actually just bought a house, and it's taken her a year to get from one property to the other, with multiple fall-throughs on her own property, trying to sell her own home, with buyers pulling out and then a new buyer coming along and that buyer pulling out, even though contracts have been signed.
It's like you said, there's no commitment.
There's no commitment. So I think we've got it a lot better here. I don't think Australian real estate agents realise how lucky they have it here. If you have a buyer who wants property, they've got to pay a deposit, they've got to sign a contract. You've got 2 weeks.
That's a commitment, yeah.
2 weeks, and then it's unconditional, and then you can move on. So I think we have it a lot better here than we do in the UK. Yeah.
And some of the commonalities?
I think the common things between Australia and England would be people, just dealing with people.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing everywhere in the world.
Do I buy now? What's the price? How do you negotiate?
How you treat people. Not being a pestering, manipulative real estate agent, money hungry, commission breath. You can feel that. That's energy, right?
People say that the intent comes off. You mentioned commission breath. You can see people's intent. It comes off. If you're real salesy, you're very transactional.
Yeah.
You're not relationship based, which will mean it can last a long time. You can have clients that can buy products from everything because they know your duty of care to them is different, yeah?
Absolutely.
Now, you were in real estate for quite some time, and then you thought, I'm doing this on my own. What was that leap? Why? Because you're winning a bunch of awards. I know you're doing very well. I know where you worked and you're doing really good. What happened?
Yeah, look, I'm not going to mention any names, but I've worked in lots of different offices. I had a really challenging immigration journey, which meant I had to move around to satisfy immigrations.
Took you years, didn't you?
It took me 10 years to get my permanent residency. It was the hardest 10 years of my life. There was lots of days where I was, Mum, I'm coming home. I can't do it anymore. Moving around to different markets, trying to rebuild my life in one place, and then immigration changed everything and I have to move to somewhere else and I had to rebuild my life again. I did that 3 times. New work, new legislation, new systems, new processes, new clients, new reputation, new friends, everything I had to rebuild 3 times. So I've had the beauty of seeing lots of different offices and how they operate. Good ones, bad ones, toxic ones, great ones with good culture. And the last several years that I have been working in real estate, I've had a really good run. I've worked in major franchises and I've worked in independents, but I think I had a really good run and I really wanted to build something with people who align with my values. And I find that a lot of real estate offices, you get a very mixed bag of people and it depends on the leader at the top, like yourself. You have an amazing group of people here, as we've noticed this morning. But I think for me, I wasn't aligned with the right people who had the right intentions, and I wanted to build something with people who had the same intentions and values as me, which is all about people first, property second.
You know what, and I see that too. And as I mentioned before, you've raised a beautiful daughter. She talks a lot about things that are important and she talks about giving back and helping.
Yeah.
And I can see where it comes from. I was kind enough, you sent some articles and some humanitarian work that you did that I saw goes back to I read it. It was 1979 in November. So I was a whole of 1 month old at the time. It was a very old time magazine.
Yeah.
And that for me is beautiful. That's impactful. Can you tell us a bit about that work, why you got into it, and what they gave you? Because there's nothing more rewarding, really.
Well, that's true. I really, what happened was I went to New York in my 30s because I wanted to start a career over there. I didn't know in what, because I couldn't get a work visa, a green card. So you're allowed to work in an embassy as a local hire, which I went to the Canadian Customs Embassy and worked there. And in the meantime, filed application for a job with the UN in any agency at all over the UN. As it turned out, UNICEF called me and said, would I do all the tests and the entrance, etc. And I did, and introduced me to this man who was going to head the program department. This man changed my life. He was transferred from another office into New York, and he didn't want somebody that within the system. He wanted somebody outside.
Why is that?
He didn't want them programmed.
I understand.
And my story is aligned to Aisha's in that I didn't fulfill the qualifications to join the UN, but he chose me because of my life
Because of you.
and because of me.
Yeah.
He said, what have you been doing? I said, well, for the last 2 years, I've been walking around Africa. He said, what do you, I said, well, I just hitchhiked around Africa for 2 years. And he said, that's life experience. I'll take that. And hired me.
That's incredible.
This man who his name was, I'll never forget him. And I worked for him, and then suddenly this Kampuchea emergency happened, and they wanted volunteers. And I said, would you let me go? Because he would have to relinquish me. And he said, oh, I don't want you to go, but I want you to go.
That's
because
nice.
This is
So
going
he
to be.
cared about you, but he was going to miss you, is what he's saying.
Yeah. He, I didn't know how he was going to manage. He said, you have to go. I will make sure you go. And I did. On a plane, 48 hours later to Bangkok, thrown in an office with ministers from the government. Nobody knew what to do because the politics of the time were so intense. There was the Phnom Penh government wouldn't allow us to fly in.
So a lot of red tape.
Loads of red tape. So we had to get round all this. And eventually I ended up in the camps working with a small team. My role was quite insignificant, I suppose, really. I was the radio operator. There were no phones. There was no hot water. There was no electricity. We lived very simply. And there was only a walkie-talkie and radio communication with the warehouse, which stocked the food and water, and Bangkok, the headquarters. So my job was to man the radio and relay all the messages. And at times I'm on the radio and I can hear the bombing in the camps. And my friends, my colleagues are out there in the camps. And I can hear them.
That's a horrific story.
And, I was fairly safe. I was sort of in a little makeshift office and everything. And I worked with 3 or 4 people who I'm still in contact with today. One of the girls, her name was April, and she and I had to go down on the manifest on the plane to Bangkok to buy some supplies. And we had to put down anonymous names, false names. And she said to me, what did you put down for you? And I said, my name is S. O'Hara, Scarlett O'Hara. She said, what name did you put down for me? And I said, you are Ruby Pratt. She has been Ruby and I have been Scarlett ever since. And that's 40 years ago.
That's so funny.
There was joy, there was fun.
It's a
there
good
was
example.
Humor, but
you turned that into that, though.
Yeah,
you created it.
It was 12 hours, 14 hours, 15 hours a day. There was no sort of 9 to 5-ish about this. Christmas Day, we're out there. We had a house fire on Christmas Day, and, people going out, people disappearing from the camps because of the bombing, having to go out there and find them and monitor them, bring them back. The difficulties in getting the food. The water station was 60 kilometers in that day. The camps are 60 kilometers that way. the water trucks are being hijacked because the supreme commander of the Thai army's cousin owns a water truck, and he would like him to have the contract at 3 times the price.
Of course.
The aid was getting stolen and sold on the black market for guns to provide weapons for the 2 fractions that were fighting. Well, 3, Khmer Rouge, Khmer Sarai, and the Vietnamese. So you've got all these problems. And at the heart of it, you're trying to feed 350,000 people and give them water. And everybody's throwing these problems at you. But you just get up every day and hope it will be a bit
I was
better.
going to ask you, how did you cope and how did you move forward every day?
Though there were times when it was very tough. That was very tough. You know, we all had our down days and we could all spot it in
And
each
you help
other.
each other
And
up?
we would help each other up. This is why these people were so important to me. They know when it's hit you, you hit a wall.
Pick 'em up.
And then every 6 weeks or so, they'd send you off to an island beach for an hour and a half or 2 days. But you could only go on your own because they couldn't afford to send more than one. So you'd go out and you'd sit, and then you think, oh, I want to be with people. Then when you get there, you don't know what to say to people.
It would have been so many mixed emotions, but
Huge.
you know, in light of all those things, you still managed to be upbeat,
Yes,
to find humor, and to get yourself through it. 'Cause
absolutely. I learned that from them. That was a lesson I took away
coping
from
mechanism?
those coping mechanisms from the people I lived with, the people I worked with. However bad it got, it wasn't as bad as the people we were trying to help.
And you look at it like that, and when you hear stories like that, you can really put things into perspective.
Yeah.
What we think are challenges,
Yeah.
what we think are bad, they're not that important. They're not that
Yeah, because I didn't have hot water for a shower. These people didn't have any water to drink.
you're always
know,
more fortunate than other people. Yeah, got to
Always,
be grateful.
and that opened my eyes a lot. You know, when I first started working for UNICEF, there was no suspect of me being able to go out and work in the field. I was a local hire. They weren't allowed to send me anywhere. But because of the emergency, that went by the board and they sent me. Because of that, that opened my eyes and I knew that that's the kind of job I wanted
Can
to
I
do.
ask you, because we can talk for many, many hours over these things, what were one of the 1 or 2 key points that you saw in humanity or in yourself that got you through those times?
The times that I saw my colleagues going out into the camps to see the children that were dying of hunger and coming back, relaying the stories, which you have to talk it out to somebody when you come back, and getting up the next day
Doing it again.
and doing it again.
So it's an incredible story of resilience to be able to do that, because the mission is bigger than anything.
Absolutely.
But you can't, and I've never been through nothing like this as traumatic. The closest I got to is when I almost lost my son. He got I took him to the doctors, I remember, and he wasn't himself. And I went to the doctors in Taylor's Lakes and the guy goes, he's got a cold, Chris. Same symptoms. And I said, no, he doesn't. So I went from the doctors and I went to pick up my mum and he started convulsing in the car. His eyes rolled back and pus is coming in his mouth because he got bacterial meningitis and I thought he was about to die.
Oh my God.
So, and I freaked out. And when you see something like that, you can never unsee it.
No.
It's always in your mind. I can recall like it was yesterday. And when people have got traumatic experiences like that and they can do it again because the purpose is bigger to help more humans, it's incredible.
This is what I learned from them. This is what they gave me. Get up and start again, because the whole is bigger than,
This is bigger than you.
It's all of us together making. I didn't think that I could make a difference, but now I realise my small part did, because it was aligned with everybody.
But every small part
every
does.
small part makes a big part.
Yeah.
And that makes the difference.
It's you know what, there's all over the internet there's a young kid who finds a starfish and throws it in the ocean. The guy goes, you can't make a difference because there's so many starfish on the shore. And he goes, I did to that one.
Yeah.
And it's that one little act which compounds
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
so many acts. But it's also a friend of mine recently gave me a book, I think it was Man on a Mission or The Purpose of Life. It was about people being in the Auschwitz camp.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
I'll remember I'll look it up at the end. And I read the book and it was just incredible what they were going through. And they said, who didn't make it out alive? And you know what they said? The optimists. Because the people that just were, I'm going to get out by Christmas, I'm going to get out by this. Difference between hope and faith, they had faith they're going to survive some people and they went through the most horrific time ever.
Yeah.
But the ones that were optimistic, they died of a broken heart is what they said because it just kept happening. And when you read that book, it's like the resilience of a human being when they have to is incredible.
It's unbelievable. And when you read so many stories of people getting through these traumatic things and coming out, most of them end up helping somebody else.
They become profoundly changed. But the positive ones, my mum always tells me God always tests his good soldiers, his strong soldiers.
Yeah.
He'll put something in front of you can deal with to become a better person or to become a deeper person. Then you see things differently. And I always think when you see people that go through challenges that come out the other end, like see a lot of people, through my work with Vinnie's, I had one lady I'll never forget. She was victim of domestic abuse. She was homeless. Now she started her own business. She sponsors kids. She's got her own. It's an incredible person. Not rehabilitated. She's now helping people too.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that have gone through that say, all I want to do is help now. I want to help the next
Yeah.
person. And that's what it's about, isn't it?
I've been there. I know what it's like. Yeah.
And the goodness of a human being is to go for. It's a very unique episode because we're going from real estate to humanitarian work.
Yeah.
The homelessness.
I think just to touch on both, I was just listening to both of you there. I really believe that you were saying that about God tests his strongest soldiers. I do think adversity and difficult things, life scenarios it can be really, really traumatic at the time and horrible with what you're dealing with. But it's a gift, really badly wrapped, because through those difficult times, you get really good and better going through difficult times.
And you grow
and it becomes
evolve.
a skill set, right?
100%.
And like I've been through tough times, so has everybody. We've all got a story, right? But I think the more I go through these difficult things that I've had to face, next time I had a difficult thing, I breezed through it. I went through it with grace, emotional stability. I was like, okay, this is something I'm dealing with now. Let's deal with it. And I got through it. And that was a really pivotal moment for me. I was like, wow, I handled that really well. And it was only at that time when I really looked back at my timeline and went, my gosh, if that was 20 or 10 years ago, I would have reacted very differently and I would have handled that very differently. So now I'm really grateful for all those really challenging things that I went through because I do believe I can handle most things now.
It does shape you.
It does.
You know when they say, give me smaller problems, make me stronger to deal with bigger problems because problems just grow. When they say in business, the stones don't stop coming, they even get bigger.
Yeah.
You also get stronger and you deal with them.
Yeah.
And it's very, very easy for some people that are outside that to see it. So I remember when you called me and I could see from outside, you've got this, it's easy, it's not even a problem for you. But when you're in it, sometimes it's harder to see.
Yeah.
And through that person you become through that process, like you said, when you reflect back 10 years, I would have been in trouble. Like I look at any issue now, 3 years ago I got divorced and I look back at things now. My son almost lost my son. He became deaf. Couple business things go south. When something tough happens and I reflect on 1 or 3 or 4 of these experiences, I'm like, it's all good. Or you really dig down to someone's real issues when you're talking about what you saw and you've got your friends and your colleagues going through that. It's not that bad. Things will be okay.
It's a form of measuring tape, internal measuring tape, isn't it? If you've got bad things, you can then recognize when you're going through good times, because if you have good all the time, good becomes normal.
Yeah.
So you actually need the bad times to use as a form of measurement, right? And I think that's really important for everybody to have some bad things happen. Not, wouldn't wish anything bad on anyone, but I don't think it's something to be scared of. I think it should be embraced. Yeah.
The Stoics say and everything that happens in your life
Mm.
is not good, not bad. The only thing you have control over is how you can
react
respond.
to
How
it.
you handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you see things like that, and Marcus Aurelius used to wake up and say, today I'm going to encounter liars, bad people, thieves. That's how he'd wake up every morning. No matter what it was, that's how his mindset would be.
Mm.
Yeah.
And he obviously was one of the last of the greatest Roman emperors. And that's how he would wake up thinking that. So nothing would disappoint him. And a lot of the Stoic philosophies, they teach you to deal with hardship. That's one of my favorite topics. I read a lot about it. They teach you to deal with hardship and put things into perspective. Because if you look at what they say, a lot of people suffer through things twice, once in their imagination and once in actual event.
Yeah.
And usually, and most of the times, what you suffer in imagination is a lot worse than the actual event.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, wait for it, and just
Yeah.
deal with it.
Exactly.
And if you read the Stoics and how they lived, it's actually incredible.
Yeah.
Things aren't as important as we make them.
Mm.
Life goes on.
Yeah.
So obviously, you've done a lot of work across the countries. So you mentioned Africa and China. Can you tell us a bit about each of them?
Yes, I went to Africa. A friend asked me to visit South Africa, and I went over there, and we eventually got into a relationship and became engaged. And one day I mooted the point that maybe it would be nice to sort of have a little bushwalk or, a trip around Africa. But he was very involved in the business, art galleries, this sort of thing. Meant a lot to him. And there was a neighbour that lived upstairs, and he said he was going on a bushwalk and didn't know where he was going, didn't know how long for, leaving his apartment and everything behind. He was leaving on Monday, and I joined him.
And you left.
I just left.
That's incredible.
I had a backpack, a sleeping bag, 2 pans, and we set off walking. We walked actually from Cape Town to almost all around the coast, and then across into Mozambique and into Lesotho, Swaziland,
How long did this go
Zimbabwe.
for?
2 years.
Oh my God.
And most of the time we never had a tent, and we didn't sleep in any buildings. Most of the time we slept in
In
sleeping
nature.
bags on the ground.
Mm.
And at one stage we found ourselves on the edge of a game park
Oh my
with a
God.
herd of elephants walking by in the middle of the night.
And you slept in a cave.
Oh yes. Oh, that's right. This amazing adventure. We went.
Just something you should write. This is like a book.
Oh,
It
we're
already is.
working on that.
We're working on the book.
But
That's incredible.
Mum has photos of her in the caves.
There was
black and white ones.
my
They're
friend who
beautiful.
I was traveling with, Johnny, said, look, there's these caves. It's been explored by the University of Chicago, and they've left a couple of bits of equipment there. And I think if we get there, we could explore this area. I said, oh yeah, that sounds great. So we went over, and there was these 2 caves, one at the bottom, one at the top, and there was a ladder that the university had obviously used to crawl up to the top one. Camped in the bottom one, found out it was a back cave, and that was not nice. It was a bit smelly, so we moved into a penthouse upstairs.
That's the spirit. You've always been in real estate, huh?
We had a couple of tins and things, but when that ran out, we had some string and a little pin on the end, and we were catching little fish, and these things called aliquackles, which stuck onto rocks, and they're big shells, and you pull them off, and they've got like a golf ball of meat, and you pull that out and throw it on the fire, and that was very nutritious. It had a lot of protein in it.
Oh my God.
So, and we had a 60-foot waterfall as a shower, freezing cold. Anyway, I got scurvy because we weren't eating any vegetables or fruits. We decided we'd have to go back to the nearest town. Walked through the bush. A car comes along. Hadn't seen a car for weeks, months. A car comes along. Would you like a lift? Yes, please. It was the South African Secret Police. We were on a submarine base.
Oh my God.
You tell them.
And the South African police are not very nice.
They weren't happy with you.
No, they weren't. We were spies.
Uh,
We were communist spies, to be precise. Threw us in jail.
How long were you there for?
Oh, just a couple of nights.
At least you had a roof over your head.
Sorry?
Yeah.
You had a roof over your head now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a five-star hotel.
It was actually rather nice.
It's a little break, Tom.
We had a dartboard.
In African jail.
You have to
So
leave.
eventually it was all cleared up and we left. At another occasion, I was sleeping in the Neisner forest and I'd bought some plums and there was some left and I wrapped them in my jersey, walked across the bridge. We found a little place to camp in the forest. The next morning, police dragging us away because there'd been a murder on the bridge, in a shop nearby, and they'd found a blood-stained jersey on the bridge, which was my plum-stained jersey.
Oh,
It wasn't blood, it was just the fruit juice. But
Off
forensic.
the jail again.
It's such a funny story.
And yeah, it was great. And so eventually, I sold my shoes in Beira in Mozambique to buy breakfast. Because what we'd do is we'd stop at a youth hostel sometimes and just get a job for about 3 weeks, make a
Make
little
some
bit of
money.
money, and then it would keep us going for the next few months. So in Zimbabwe, I worked as a railway cleaner on carriages. I had to be there at 4 a.m. And I'd be there with all the tribal members, going on the trains and cleaning. They couldn't understand why this white woman was cleaning carriages.
That is so funny.
And I'd earn about $30, which would last 3 months.
What an experience, though.
Oh, it was amazing.
You couldn't
Met
do
some
that
great
now.
people.
In that country.
And then when I got back, the guy I was with, he wanted to go somewhere, and I said, actually, I think I'd rather go to New York, and that's how the New York story became about. And I went to Cambodia. When I came back from Cambodia, they asked me to go to China to help open the office for UNICEF in China, and immediately we got there. 2 weeks after we got there, it was just me and the UNICEF representative, and we were trying to sort of collect bits for an office in wherever we could. And 2 tragedies occurred in 2 provinces very nearby each other in China, Hubei and Hebei. Hubei province had a terrible flood and it killed millions of people and destroyed villages all over the province. Hebei province, they'd had a severe drought and there was nothing to eat. Would we go and visit the 2 provinces and meet with the government officials and decide what we could do to help? But don't tell anybody, because the Chinese, up until then, had not asked for foreign assistance.
So they were ashamed, or they didn't want people to know.
They would lose face.
Yeah.
So could we do it in such a way that we could do it without
Anonymously.
So we did, and we eventually we sourced a bunch of vitamins from a warehouse in. The kids had rickets from not eating properly, and we sourced these pills that we could give them that would help grow bones.
What did you say they had?
Rickets.
Rickets.
What's rickets?
It's a vitamin deficiency where your bones stop growing.
Wow.
And so I sourced these vitamins from a warehouse in Geneva. My boss said, "That's your project, do that." I said, "Well, I've got them. I don't have any funds to fly them over." He said, "Well, go and ask the airlines if they'll do it." So I went around every agency, every airline in Beijing, asking them if they would fly for free this warehouse stock in. British Airways said yes.
That's awesome.
Go the Poms.
And they
That's
flew it
fantastic.
in, and the captain, we're on the tarmac, the captain comes down and he says, of course, there's no big hoo-ha on the tarmac because this doesn't happen. And the pilot comes down the stairs. He said, "This has been an amazing journey for me." He says, "My last flight." He said, "I'm retiring. I'm very honoured to be able to bring this cargo over to China."
What a beautiful story.
So I also get my negotiation skills from my mother.
You know what? It's funny because you didn't have the resource, but they said make it happen, and off you go.
Yeah.
When it's amazing what you can do when you have to.
Yeah, and perseverance. One says no, don't be decided. Ask the next one.
Yeah.
Just
and the
keep
next
going.
one,
Just
and the
keep
next
going.
one.
Just keep going.
Do not give up. My motto in life. What do I have in a little sort of poster in my room?
Never give up.
Never give up.
And that's actually been on our door in every single house that we've
Since
ever
you were
lived
born.
in since I was born.
It's in your,
Never give up.
It's in your subconscious now. It's in your psyche.
Yeah. So, but then eventually we needed to let the world know what was happening in China, but it couldn't come from our agency. So we set up with a Reuters correspondent, we set up an interview and we gave him the information.
And they presented it.
And they wrote an article about it as though it wasn't an interview, but this is the fact.
So they presented the information.
Yeah. So, and that is what you see in these magazines that I've got that are now 45 years old.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And
well, I'm looking forward to this book you're potentially writing. Because you've lived many lives.
Yes.
You've lived many different lives, I can
want
tell
to
you.
try and get it published before I'm 80.
Yeah, we just need to find someone to help us with that.
Everything was written down, the journals, it's all in handwriting. So I've got to collate all that.
It's an amazing story, an amazing book, from your humanitarian work, philanthropy work, to your personal adventure. Yeah. It's a movie all within itself.
Oh yes, well we're
Netflix. Yeah.
We often talk about who's going to play who.
No. Yeah, I think that's the goal next.
Definitely.
It's just put it down for my sake.
Yeah.
So that
that's how it started.
Yeah.
The book is in first draft, and it's about that thick, and I need it this thick. But I originally started it for Aisha. Because when she was young, she just thought I was a boring old mum.
No, I didn't. You're amazing.
It's a crazy story as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
So going back to all those challenges, to the most important and exciting parts, talking about you started your own real estate firm.
Yes, I have.
Tell us a bit about that so we can end on something really positive.
Thank you. So I started my own business, White House Estate Agents. We're based in Geelong. I've been open for only 4.5 months now, but we've already taken off so much greater than what I was anticipating in such a short amount of time, which is super exciting. We do have some big news coming in soon. Proud mama. I'm going to make mama CEO. So look, we've got some really big things happening, which I can't talk about right now, but watch this space and we'll see where it goes. But I'm always someone who's pushing for the next level. What can I do next? Let's achieve this level. Okay, we've got that really working like a well-oiled machine. What's the next step? How far can I push this thing? So far, so good.
And very, very service-based, great at what you do. Beautiful person. I'd like to thank both of you for joining us. First mother and daughter episode,
yes,
as I mentioned before,
yes,
which is very, very good. Thank you for coming. And I understand now when you talk a lot about all the stuff you talk about, being a good person, where it comes from your mum and all the work you do.
Thanks,
so ladies, as it's a custom, are you ready for our quick fire questions?
Yes.
They're quite easy. Don't worry.
Do you want to ask mum first, or?
Well, I'll ask one and then the other answer as well. Can we do that? So I'll ask you first, and then I'll ask you the same question.
Okay.
Comedy or drama? What do you prefer?
Drama.
Camping or clamping?
Glamping.
It's my dyslexia. Like my event with my daughter. Spicy food or mild food?
Spicy.
I want to see which ones are different. Now, a lot of them will be the same. Read the book or watch a movie about the book?
Read a book.
Skiing or surfing?
Bit of both.
Surfing.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
First thing you think of when you wake up?
How comfortable I am.
I have to feed the cats.
What's the one thing you're very grateful for?
My daughter.
Oh, my mum. I have to say that now, don't I?
I put you on the spot.
How do you relax after a stressful day?
That's a good question. Usually I would say I do box breathing. Do you know what box breathing is? It's you.
4-4-4. Is that what you mean?
4-4.
Oh yeah, I do. Yes, I do.
Box breathing and a glass of wine.
I would probably go for a walk and listen to a podcast. called Relentless.
Thank you. Which will be another episode come. If you weren't, what career were you in when you were working?
What career was I?
What were you doing? What line of work? Was it just the humanitarian work? What was your career?
Oh, well, I was trained as a secretary originally.
If you weren't doing that role, what would you be doing?
Oh, what would I have been doing? Gosh.
And I'll ask you the same, so you got time to think.
I've always wanted to work. I've always wanted to travel. And I wanted a job that involved travel, which seemed impossible. Why would anybody pay me to travel around the world? Which is why when I went into UNICEF, I thought, I'll do anything. I'll clean if you like.
You actually found it though, didn't you?
I did, yes. And if I put my mind to it, I usually do get it. If it's worth it.
You know what? If your vibration, your energy comes something, you can attract it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
this is a really hard one for me because
if you weren't in real estate,
if I wasn't in real estate, I'd definitely be doing something humanitarian work. Like I do a lot of that already. I love it. It sets me alive and alight when I'm doing it. It breathes life back into me. I think I'd love to do that full time.
I haven't had time because we've gone through this word so many, but I do need to mention. You've recently just come back from Cambodia.
Indonesia.
Sorry, and
I've built a house for a vulnerable family who were chosen by an NGO on the ground in Indonesia. So we raised $65,000. We actually had enough money to build 3 houses, but we didn't have time to actually physically build them ourselves. So I went over and built it with my own hands. We were literally given a plot of land in the middle of a rural village, and we had to dig the trenches, and that took 4 days in itself. By day 5, we put the walls up and completed the rest of the home. The only thing we didn't get to do was the roof, but we've got labourers on the ground over there who are finishing the house as we speak and building another 2 with the money that we were able to raise. Thank you for your donation.
Of course, that's nothing.
Can I just interrupt and say something very interesting? Yeah. Aisha's previous trip with Homes for Habitat was to Cambodia. And it was very near where I was stationed.
It was actually right near the camp.
And her driver, when he was a little boy, was in the camps when I was there.
So the driver I had on the trip in Cambodia, which was 2 years ago, I just got talking to him.
And he told her he was in the camps in 1979.
Isn't that incredible?
And I was like, my mum could have met this driver I had who lost all his family. He was the only person left in his family.
And you actually helped.
Yeah.
That is an incredible.
It made my heart race.
You were meant to be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I get this from her, and when we match up our timelines and our lives, it's very similar what we've been through. Mum left England, went to New York to set up a new life.
Took a long time to get a visa.
Yeah. It's the same. It's like, it's really
your kindred spirits. It's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story. Yeah. I'm so glad I asked that question. So you raised the money, you went over there to Indonesia, and you've also helped. And it's incredible.
We built it with our own hands, and it was really, really tough. But I think when you live with people who have nothing for a week, it's like we were talking about earlier.
Leveling.
Your perspective changes, you are profoundly changed internally. You come back and you look at things with a different perspective.
With a true perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not, I think in our industry, you're always chasing, there's a lot of people that are chasing the next best thing, the next watch, the next car, the next handbag, the next house. We don't actually need that stuff. We need to look at what's important and what do we need right now to help ourselves and the people around us immediately and impact them. It's not about working and hustling to get the next $10,000 handbag or whatever it is. So
think about that. You can build a house if you get 2 handbags of 20,000.
Exactly.
But you can actually
give someone a home for the rest of their life.
Look, I'm going to be guilty and say I do love those things.
And no disrespect to people who do.
With the condition that you do a lot for others as well.
100%.
I think it's a balance. In the sense that I like things, but as long as I can contribute and be of value and of service.
Absolutely.
But as I'm getting older, they're becoming so much more less on my radar and less important.
Yeah.
This was always important to give back and do good things.
Yeah.
But I've always liked nice things and I think I always will.
Yeah.
But they're becoming so much more less important as I'm getting older.
Yeah. But there's also a lot of people out there, Chris, who are like that, but they don't give back. which is what I'm referring to as those types of personalities. It's their sole focus to chase these shiny objects, and they don't help the people around you. And you don't need to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars to help people. You can actually impact someone on a daily basis just by holding the elevator open,
Being kind,
and being kind,
smiling,
or say seeing someone at a bus stop, an older person at a bus stop, rainy day. Hey, can I give you a lift?
or you're kind. Even if it's people. When I was doing the charity stuff, I said, if you've got no money, have a conversation,
100%.
share the message.
Yeah.
It can start with being kind or raising awareness. Not everything is about money. When you're coming about donating your time and doing what you're doing, that humanitarian work, there's no amount of money that will be the same, in my opinion, as dedicating your time. That's why I liked what you did, because it was both.
Yeah.
You're dedicating your time, but you're also building.
Yeah.
Like I had a few friends of mine goes, Chris, I just need to donate to something. And I said, you don't care, whatever, whatever you need, I'll donate.
Yeah.
But for me, I go, don't you want to know more about the cause? No, I just got to donate. But the other flip side to the coin, I've had other friends of mine say, you make me want to do more. You make me feel a bit guilty. I said, good, because I want you to do more.
That's what I'm trying to do.
But he goes, I always say, and I should do more. And I go, we can always do more. All of us can do.
Yeah.
But it's not only monetary. So you're not off the hook if you don't have money. You can still give your time, or you can still smile and be kind.
I love that.
Now, so how do you define success?
Getting up in the morning, going outside and having a cup of coffee and listening to the birds sing.
It's a nature.
And I'm alive.
That's profound. And
I would define success being able to do something that I love, that impacts people and supports people, and I really enjoy it and I'm having fun. And I think also being able to go and do things that I want to do with my own time and spend my time how I want to spend it without worrying about my business, and that's running efficiently and actually living my life and giving back.
it's one of the definitions of wealth. I've heard people say, do what I want, when I want, with who I want.
Yeah.
Because true wealth should unlock that, should unlock those experiences. Now, for the most important question, ladies, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much have you enjoyed being on our podcast?
10, definitely.
Oh, 100.
There we
It's
go.
my first-
Our second 100th.
This is my first time and I loved it.
Thank you very much for joining us. If you want to see more Relentless, please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing episodes. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Chris.